Welcome back to another episode of Out Loud Geek, where we discuss news and views about pop culture, science fiction, fantasy, food, cooking, the outdoors, and more. Yes, Kathleen Kennedy, the destroyer of franchises, has succeeded in driving Mark Hamill away from Star Wars and his beloved character of Luke Skywalker. In an interview on Sunday, the actor said that the franchise no longer needs him or his character, and I doubt that many will be surprised by Mark Hamill calling it quits when it comes to today's Lucasfilm and Star Wars, which both bear very little resemblance to the company and franchise that George Lucas originally created over 40 years ago. Even Mark Hamill's beloved character of Luke Skywalker was completely destroyed by Kathleen Kennedy's disastrous sequel trilogy. So who can blame him? Well, you never say never, but I just don't see any reason to, Hamill said about reprising the role of Luke Skywalker again. Let me put it that way. I mean, they have so many stories to tell, they don't need Luke anymore. I had my time, and that's good, but that's enough. Basically, Mark Hamill was being very polite in his comments. Hamill was the face of George Lucas's original Star Wars trilogy alongside Harrison Ford and the late Carrie Fisher. He returned to the role decades later at the very end of Jar Jar Abrams' 2015 Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Then he became a key character in Rian Johnson's 2017 Star Wars VIII: The Last Jedi, in which Johnson transformed the beloved character into an emasculated, demoralized curmudgeon who had given up on everything, including his sister and closest friends, and essentially everything that he had ever believed in, to the delight of Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy, who fully demonstrated in that movie her desire to destroy George Lucas's principal male hero in Star Wars to make room for her Mary Sue Ray Palpatine to take over. Here's what Mark Hamill said in an interview in 2017 before the movie's release. When I read 8, I told Ryan, I fundamentally disagree with virtually everything you've decided about my character. And in an interview that occurred not long after The Last Jedi was released, Hamill said, I said to Ryan, Jedis don't give up. I mean, even if Luke had a problem, he would maybe take a year to try and regroup. But if he made a mistake, he would try and right that wrong. So right there, we had a fundamental difference. But it's not my story anymore. It's somebody else's story, and Ryan needed me to be a certain way to make the ending effective. That's the crux of my problem. Luke would never say that. In this version, see, I'm talking about the George Lucas Star Wars. This is the next generation of Star Wars. I almost had to think of Luke as another character. Maybe he's Jake Skywalker. He's not my Luke Skywalker, but I had to do what Ryan wanted me to do because it serves the story. Right. And that's one of the film's fundamental problems. It wasn't a George Lucas story, it was a Rian Johnson story. Hamill recently told Esquire magazine, when I read The Last Jedi script, I said, okay, well, that's it for me. And you start that process of disengaging from something that's been a part of your life. And I've had to do that myself as a longtime fan. Emotionally disengage myself from Star Wars so that I can let it go because, as far as I'm concerned, Star Wars is dead. The Last Jedi ended with Luke's pointless death after facing adult crybaby Kylo Ren as a Force-generated hologram, but then Hamill returned once more as a Force ghost in Jar Jar Abrams' completely asinine dumpster fire of a movie, 2019's Star Wars IX: The Rise of Palpatine. Hamill then played a younger Luke thanks to motion capture and de-aging visual effects in The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett. Hamill said that he came back for The Mandalorian because he was very impressed with it, but admits that seeing the final result of his face being de-aged is unusual. Lucasfilm could theoretically keep making Star Wars projects featuring Luke with a de-aged Hamill, but the actor seems to be ruling that out. People say, oh, now you're going to be able to do a whole series of Luke post-Return of the Jedi. I said, I don't think so, Hamill told Esquire. First of all, they don't need to tell those stories, but if they do, they could get an age-appropriate actor. Yeah, right there, Hamill is totally saying that he's done with Star Wars for good. I wouldn't be surprised that after reading Rian Johnson's script the first time for The Last Jedi, if Mark Hamill may have been tempted to just walk away from the franchise then and there. Maybe he should have, because at least audiences would have been spared seeing Rian Johnson's total destruction of his character, including the repulsive scene where he's squeezing blue milk from a giant sea creature and drinking it raw. Luke was nothing more than a homeless bum in The Last Jedi with the appearance of a street junkie. And that was all Rian Johnson's doing, with Kathleen Kennedy and her handpicked Lucasfilm goons cheering him on. That movie forever broke the Star Wars franchise, and it has only gotten worse since then, because even though there was a glimmer of hope with the first 2 seasons of Jon Favreau's The Mandalorian, the 3rd season that aired earlier this year on Disney Plus squashed that glimmer under Kathleen Kennedy's heels. Many people are now done with Star Wars, including myself. So seeing Mark Hamill decide that he's done with it too is quite fitting. He doesn't need it or Lucasfilm again. Thanks for watching today, and a huge thanks to everyone who has subscribed to our channel. We appreciate your support. If you enjoyed this video, please press the like button, and please feel free to share a comment. If you'd like to see more of our videos in the future and help support this channel, please press the red subscribe button, and please press the bell to receive notifications for new content. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter by clicking on the links in the description. Until next time, this is Out Loud Geek.